Phoenix Suns were prepared to move on from their humiliating Game 7 defeat to Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks in the second round of the NBA playoffs in 2022. But who can forget this image, which has become a popular meme? After the Suns' second round exit from last season, rumors surfaced that the team and big man DeAndre Ayton were at odds, and this caused some drama in the offseason. However, in the end, or at least for the time being, the Suns and Ayton came to an agreement, and Ayton signed a $133 million extension for 4 years prior to the start of the season. The Suns won 19 of their first 31 games, despite Chris Paul missing 10 of those games early in the season. The Suns seemed to be in a perfect spot in the Western Conference, where there were no dominant teams. And that is until their all-star and best player Devin Booker injured his groin and missed 2 games against the Pelicans on December 11th and the Rockets on December 13th. Booker returned against the Clippers and Pelicans on the 15th and 17th respectively. He scored a season-high 58 points in a comeback win against the Pelicans, but they were costly. Booker has only played 4 minutes since that game, which was on Christmas Day against the Nuggets, and Booker will be absent for at least the next 4 weeks. After suffering crushing defeat to the Nuggets, the Suns are now 2-8 in their last 10, and does Booker's injury start or end the Suns' recent struggles? Although it is a significant factor in their difficulties, it's not the only one. Chris Paul has performed admirably, but not high enough standard. Naturally, any team that loses a player like Devin Booker will struggle to maintain their previous level of performance, but the Suns' situation is more complicated than that. Up until Booker's recent loss to the Cavaliers, Chris Paul had participated in every game Booker had missed. Even in his prime, Paul had never been a player who could go out and score 30 points per game. However, when he needed to, he could completely dominate a game in different ways. When you lose 27.1 points per game, as the Suns did when Booker got injured, you need your second best player to pick up the slack. And Paul is at a point in his career where doing so will be difficult. Paul has never been known to score a lot of points, but it is exactly what they need from him right now. Paul's season average of 13.1 points currently represents a career low for the future Hall of Famer. And because of Paul is unable to carry the load on his own, the Suns' second unit must step up to the plate. Booker's absence has seen players like Ayton and Landry Shamet, both of whom are listed as out at the time of this video, step up their game. In his last 11 games, Ayton's rebounding increased from 9.8 to 10.6 boards, which was higher than his season average. Again, not bad, like Paul, but more is expected of you when you earn more than $30 million per year. Mikal Bridges is the player who regressed since Booker left the game. His scoring has dropped from 15.4 on the season to 13.5 in the last 11 games, and his three-point shooting has decreased from 39.2 to 36.6%. And no matter who he is on the court with, Bridges provides you with defensive stability. However, when it comes to Ayton and Paul, they're not the kind of players who are going to constantly get their own shot, so they both rely on Booker to get them open looks. And the Suns are roughly in the middle of the pack in terms of overall scoring this season, averaging 112.7 points per game. However, even behind the Houston Rockets, they are dead last in points per game with 104.3 over the last 10 games. And the issue lies there. The Suns are still a great team as a whole. They have a dynamic offense led by Booker and can compete with any team in the league. However, they struggle to make shots without Booker, particularly in the fourth quarter. And this is odd considering that they were on the most clutch regular season teams of all time and the league's most clutch team last year. With Booker out, the Suns will need someone to play better, improve their game, or in Paul's case, turn the clock back a few years. And the Suns' wait for Devin Booker's return will only get worse this season if this holds true. The question is whether to tank or not to tank. This was not even in the back of the minds of the majority of the Phoenix Suns fans prior to the beginning of this terrible losing streak, let alone the injuries to Paul and Booker. Life hits you quickly. In the Valley of the Sun, things are shockingly bad right now, and it seems like injuries and losses just keep on coming. And sadly, the schedule will also become more difficult in the coming weeks. This team still has a chance to win a lot of games and reclaim their place in the playoffs if Devin Booker and Cam Johnson return and Chris Paul stays healthy. What happens if that isn't the move? What if the best thing to do this season is quickly reset and throw in the towel? Given how this season has progressed, assuming that CP3, Book, and Cam will all return without any setbacks or complications is pretty unrealistic. And they could all come back, and then 1 or 2 important pieces fall. And that's just how this year has gone. When the team announces that Chris Paul would not be able to return in the game against Miami because of a sore hip, those thoughts started to sneak into the mind of Suns fans. The Suns have also lost 15 of their last 20 games. That's a significant sample size. Things could get a lot worse before they get better looking ahead to the future. The Suns are currently just 5 games away from the 5th spot in the lottery, but that number could quickly fall due to their difficult schedule and mounting injuries. A top 2 pick, the ultimate goal for everyone tanking this season, at the 5th slot in the lottery gives you a 21% chance, and the draft lottery's new format distributes the odds among teams in a more realistic manner, and there are actually 2 players worth taking for at this point. Wemby, a once-in-a-generation player who has one chance to be one of the most influential rookies in recent years, is the first pick in 2023 draft for the taking, and this is the draft to switch to tank mode if the Suns are bad enough and have a chance at him. They might get a surprise leap from the ping pong balls as a reward. If the stars aligned, Devin Booker and Victor Wembanyama could establish a dynasty in Phoenix. Okay, it's time to wake up from this fantasy. The consolation prizes comes next, which is rude to say about someone with Scoot Henderson's level of talent. He would be selected first in almost every draft, and whoever selects him will be adding a talent that could transform a franchise. A team has the chance to add a star player if it takes the second and third picks in this draft. Devin Booker will not wait for another 18-year-old to develop unless the Suns miraculously rise to the top 2. Even in that case, using that pick as a trading chip puts you in the running for virtually any available star. Not that I would personally trade it, but you should never rule out that possibility. They still own their own pick, so this holds value, regardless of where Phoenix finishes in the first round. The Suns are in a good position with contracts, picks, and valuable pieces to move, and star hunting is all about collecting as many tradable assets as possible. Is this team truly prepared to compete for a championship, even if Phoenix makes a move and adds 1 or 2 quality rotation players? The roster's flaws stand out like sore thumbs, and if things continue to spiral, it may be best for the Suns to have a full offseason to build around what they want after wasting time trying to sign Kevin Durant. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do you think the Suns can overcome their troubles once Booker's back, or will they blow it up in the offseason and start from scratch? I would love to hear your opinion, so let me know in the comment section below. Drop a like and subscribe to our channel for the coolest videos around the NBA. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Adios.